Welcome! In the sixth section, that is the last one of our Reactive course, we will be doing Reactive microservices. So we will start the Reactive Spring Boot application and we will see what dependencies we need to add to bootstrap our Reactive Spring Boot that will be a microservice. Next we'll be creating Reactive Data Access Layer. So we will create a repository that works in a reactive way and fetch data from underlying database using Reactive API, that is Reactor, that we learned about in the previous section. Next we'll be creating Reactive controller that leverages that repository. So we'll create a controller that proxy everything to repository and return it in a reactive way to the end user via REST API. Finally, we'll be testing Reactive microservices. And this is the first video in which we'll be doing Reactive Spring Boot. So we'll be creating Spring Boot application, we'll be adding needed dependency for reactive programming, and we'll be creating a starter. That is the main entry point for our Spring microservice. So let's go to the code. So we will start from pom.xml file. We have a pom.xml file that are based on Spring Boot, but the important thing is Spring Boot actuator, and even more important is the parent. So parent is a thing that says which version of Spring Boot should be used. So we are using Spring Boot starter parent with 2.0 Spring. And then also we need to add dependencies to Reactor. So we are adding dependency to IO project Reactor, Reactor core. That is very important for reactive programming. Also we are specifying that we need Reactor test and with the scope test. So as you remember from the previous video, when we use Reactor, we leverage the testing possibilities of this Reactor, so we'll be using it also in this application. Once we will have all needed dependencies, we are ready to create an application and actually the starter. So we are creating a packed application, and also we are specifying a couple important things here. So first one is the main method. Main method is thing that is invoked via the Spring framework. So Spring will find out the application that is annotated with Spring Boot application annotation and will invoke the main method. If you want to pass some additional things to your microservice, you can leverage the args array here and add it, specify it to the run method. So we are specifying that we need to run the packed application. Also, we can do some initialization here. For example, we are creating a REST template that will be leveraged in the Reactive controller. So we can create a REST template bin that will be injected anywhere we will use that specific class in our code. But let's go to the Spring Boot application once again. So we can see a Spring Boot application is an annotation that has a lot of useful things in it. So for example, it uses a Spring Boot configuration. So it automatically scans for the bins classes that are annotated with the configuration. So if you want to configure something specifically for your application, you can leverage that. Then we are enabling auto configuration, so it means that it will be done automatically. We don't need to specify that explicitly. But one most important thing for us is a component scan. So it means that it will go through all packages here that we have in our application, and if something, any class, any configuration file is annotated with the specific annotation, for example component or different annotations that are specific to Spring lifecycle, it will take that class and initialize it in the dependency injection framework that is a Spring also, because Spring has DI in it. Also, we can specify filters to exclude if you don't want to scan something, some package that is private or something like this, but we, for our testing purpose, doesn't need that. Also, we are enabling heuristic and aspect-j, but it is not important for us currently. So once we created our application, we are ready to create first reactive thing.